So all of you are here because you want to hear about a truly secure and scalable collaboration solution for all organizations. So this means no matter what size your organization is or exactly what your needs are, whether you want to host the FileLocker collaboration solution or you want to host it off-site, this is definitely something that you want to hear about. FileLocker combines all of the goodness of a robust enterprise collaboration tool. It includes administrative controls for the IT administrator or office manager within your company, and you can deploy it in-network or off-site. And we'll talk more about how you might do that. So this product is for organizations with very specific privacy and security needs. That's not to say that not just anybody can use it, anybody can. But companies like CPAs and law firms are going to be very interested in the fact that you can send large files for client and partner review. You can protect customer data while sharing it with them, and this is because this data is encrypted 3 times. It's completely undecipherable when at rest in the cloud or in transit or even locally after it's begun to be shared. It's ideal for firms with government contracts. So companies working with the government and the government often want to make sure that they have control over the network and the data center with which this software or data storage program is hosted. You can absolutely do that with FileLocker. It's great for medical offices. So if you're sharing secure and private client information, patient information, FileLocker can help you with that. FileLocker information can be shared or stored within the FileLocker system using a feature that we call UltraSafe, which will prevent it from being shared accidentally or even on purpose. It's great for graphic designers and ad agencies. Not to deviate too much, but we have received a good level of interest from people that are photographers, people who work at ad agencies and work with large files regularly. I myself have worked in an ad agency before and used YouSendIt a lot. Now that I know that there's a program out there like FileLocker that allows you to send large files for campaigns and client review and comment on them in the cloud, I would never use such a program ever again. It's ideal to be able to store this information within a web interface that you can comment on and edit and work with a large number of people with and know that it's going to be secure. So what makes FileLocker different? Number one is unmatched security. Most collaboration solutions, particularly those that are free, only encrypt data at 1 time or 2 times during its transit to the cloud. FileLocker does not do that. FileLocker encrypts data locally, in transit, and at rest in the data center. That way you can be sure if anybody were to ever access it, it will be completely useless to them. It will be undecipherable in its encrypted form. Number 2 is that it is private or public cloud deployable. So you can host it, or we can host it, or you can host it in any cloud. Finally, third, it's available for just $5 per user per month. You can increase your users at any time. So that's why we say it's totally scalable. You can start with just 6 to 10 people, and you can increase whenever you like. And finally, we have robust administrative controls. So again, if you're a company who maybe works with government contracts, you'll want to know that you can control features by user and monitor complete activity history. We'll show you that here in a little bit. So what are the collaboration features that FileLocker comes with? You'll be able to edit and preview files. You can share them. You can even share them and preview them on smartphones. So if you've already started your free FileLocker account, you can just go to m.filelocker.com, log in, and check them out. You'll, of course, have global web access to be able to access files absolutely anywhere on any web browser. You can send secure links and virtually eliminate large file sharing by email. So I've written in the bottom right-hand corner here, kill your email. Kill your email for large file sending. It's really unnecessary and it can be extremely cumbersome. And like I was mentioning earlier, for people that are sharing large graphics files, maybe even CAD files, it's extremely cumbersome and unnecessary. You often, you may have people intercepting the file unintentionally. You may have people not receiving files that you intend them to send. And then you have a large back and forth string with commentary about the file. FileLocker can absolutely eliminate that for you. You'll be able to download files from any location, upload files from any location, and drag and drop files within the application. And of course, you can store unlimited versions. So in that activity history that we talked about, you'd be able to see the unlimited versions of that file. So what are some of the administrative features? First of all, what's quite nice is that you can co-brand the application, so it would be co-branded with your company name and FileLocker. You can create administrative reports and perform complete audit trail reporting. You can even do LDAP integration within your company, set company-wide retention policies. So let's say you don't want everybody to be able to store unlimited versions. You only want them to be able to store 10, and that's because you want to manage the storage that's available, which, by the way, is unlimited. You could do that. You can share up to 100 different file types. You can force ultrasafe, so that would be forcing users to not be able to share files if they had very secure data that they were accessing. You could prevent them from sharing it. You can view file statistics and view user statistics, so you'd be able to see exactly how much data each user is using. You'd also be able to control which features they can use. So maybe you want a user to not be able to do commenting on a file. You can control that with our administrative features. So why FileLocker? Because a box is not a safe place for your data. A box inherently opens and closes. So there's a reason that we chose the name FileLocker, and that's because we can securely manage and contain your files. And one of the ways that we do that is by ensuring that we encrypt it 3 times. We have a private key client-side encryption, which is our local encryption, and data will be encrypted in transit with a 256 SSL tunnel, and again, a 3rd time in the cloud with 256 AES. Your data stored with FileLocker will be completely undecipherable for anybody else. Only you will have the key. So here's a nice graphic that we've got about our world-class security features. This shows files going into a box, as it were, locally. That box traveling through a 256 SSL tunnel where it's completely invisible to anybody else and inaccessible. And finally, where it remains encrypted and then encrypted again in the cloud. So we have a couple of different hosting options for you. Public cloud, which is of course when we host, and you can get that today in your free account off the website. We will host your data in our military-grade data center for $5 per user per month. And if you compare that to other programs like Dropbox for Teams or Huddle, it's extremely cost-effective. You'll get full administrative controls, and you can do things like set company-wide retention policies, and you'll be able to set up one company. So let's say you are Brian's CPA firm. You could set up briancpa.filelocker.com, and that's yours, and that's how you'd be able to access your FileLocker instance. In the private cloud option, you host it. And the great thing about this is that you can host FileLocker wherever you want. Maybe you have your own network. Maybe you have a vendor that has their own network. Or maybe you want to host it in Amazon Web Services or some other off-site service. You can absolutely do that. And again, the cost is just $5 per user per month. You'll get full administrative controls. You can apply LDAP policies, set company-wide retention policies. But the difference is that you'd be able to set up multiple companies or divisions. Public cloud hosting is available to you right now. Start your free account first, then you can upgrade at $5 per user per month. You'll get all of the great security benefits that come standard with FileLocker. This is 3-tiered encryption, control usage by user, and control features by user. You'll get mobile sharing, preview, and access for all users, and multi-folder desktop sync for all users. So unlike many free file sharing solutions that are available today, there isn't just one sync folder. You will just be able to take a folder, right-click on it, and choose to sync it. You can also do that with an individual file, which is quite nice. However, if you want to run in your private cloud, you can do that. You do have to meet some minimum technical requirements, which are pretty basic. And this is for the machine that you're running it on as well as the speed. And it does have to be able to support a virtual machine, which will help you set up. You'll be able to apply LDAP controls and monitor usage of this private cloud. And you can run it in any cloud. Let's say you want to run it in Rackspace or your own co-location data center that's nearby, but still off-site. You can do that. You may have seen some news about FileLocker this week. We were featured in PC World, PC Magazine, GigHome, and Information Week. PC Magazine notes that management tools will let employers administer users. We find this to be really powerful and really rare within the industry. People are often uncomfortable with handing over precious private corporate information to third-party hosts outside their firewall, but PC Magazine thinks that you should feel secure with it with FileLocker. If you haven't yet, definitely cruise over to FileLocker.com/signup and get your free account. And if you want to talk about hosting your own FileLocker instance in any cloud of your choice, give us a call at this number. But I hope you do stick around for the next 15 minutes or so and watch a quick demo of the software done by our product manager, Derek Wood. And if you have any questions, please do type them into the questions tool, just where some of you guys wrote, yes, I can hear you, yes, you're good to go, can hear you fine. Go ahead and type in there, and we will answer them after the demo.
All right, so thank you, everyone. My name is Derek Wood. I'm the product manager here at SOS, and right now we're going to get a demo started for you to show you how FileLocker works. So we're going to try putting two browsers together and signing in with different accounts and see if we can get this moving for you. All right, if there are any specific questions about these services or like services, feel free to enter those now. We'll make sure to hit those in the demo. But for now, I'll go through a basic run through. All right, so now I have on the one browser on the left, I'm signed in with Shaylin's account, and bring in another browser, and I'll sign in with my account. Let me show you how this works. So first, going full screen on the master account for our company. So I have different admin privileges. So I can view statistics, I can view logins over time, I can see who's using it. Nice to see Shaylin's at the top of the list.
Thanks.
I can see my top users and all the information they're using. Again, logins over time in total. So that's a nice little admin functionality to see. So you can see if maybe you're allocating too much to specific users, or if you simply have people not using these new tools. And the top-down adopted solution, which is our goal, rather than the grassroots solution that kind of breaks company security as far as intellectual property ownership and where those files are being used and located. As a top-down service in collaboration, we want to make sure that everyone is using this type of service. It'll save us money and bandwidth if they're not using email to transfer large files. It also helps speed of getting those files out to our customers, gives you better notification that files are actually being looked at. You know, a send receipt and an email is one thing, but an actual download notification and a comment notification is much preferred and much better. So we have these different items. You can go and create reports. If I want to add a single user, I can do that. If I want to add bulk users, I can do that here. There's also LDAP configuration if you want to, really just add a whole lot of users. So that is a nice way to get this done. Also, I can create things like an incoming folder. So an incoming folder is essentially something that you would use if you are receiving a lot of files from your customers. For example, we have this incoming folder set up for our support staff. So when our support staff requests log files or screenshots, instead of having them attached to an email, we just say, just go to this URL, hit add files. You don't need to be signed into anything. And then you can select a file or a number of files at the same time. You enter your email address that it's coming from. And the subject line, sample just for demo, and then upload. And then our support staff will get an email notification and also a notification in their activity history, which is shown here, about what's happened in the new file that's been uploaded. So it's a really nice way of doing that. You can go through and you can change different settings as far as what the enterprise information is. So if we want to change the company names, so we have infoscale, which shows up on the subdomain for our account. Secure.infoscale will show up for anyone. You can put a company logo that will appear when we go to log in. You can set privacy notifications, file retention policies, all the good stuff. So let's get a little bit into actually using the service to collaborate with somebody. So we have demo here. I have this folder, and let's just say I want to upload some files from the machine. So we're going to hit upload, hit add files, and history events sounds like a good one. So I'll open this one up, I'll upload. And I can share this file with somebody. I can password protect the file share. I can send the link, so if I want to email somebody, and then I can have a download receipt notification, which is really nice to have, especially if you really want to make sure that somebody's reviewing the information you're using. So if you have salespeople and they send over proposals or invoices, you can see if these have actually downloaded the information. Again, a red receipt for email tells you that they hit OK to the I've read this email, but it doesn't tell you that they've actually downloaded the attachment you sent them. This does, so that's really nice to do. So let's say I go back and here's the folder structure. Let's say for everything in this folder, I want to work with Shaylin on. So I hit invite collaborators, and I send it to Shaylin. And I want her to be able to not only download and view the files, but I want her to be able to edit these files and upload new versions. I can send a little message along if I like, but I'll just add her as a collaborator now. So that's been done. Now Shaylin, on her end of things, is going to get a notification. So we'll do a quick refresh. And it says, pending invitation. You have an invite from Derek Wood and to collaborate in a demo folder. So I'll open this up. So looks like I need to invite again. If I go to the activity history, I can see all updates, whether it's invitations, whatever that may be. Let's go back here.
And another cool thing that's similar to this that we're going to show you later on is called incoming folders. So if you're an administrator, you'll actually be able to set up a folder to transfer a large amount of data to.
All right, let's try that again. I love live demos. Okay, so open up Derek. Now it sees, here's my icon, little dirty hairy action, accept invitation, and now Shaylin is in this folder. So she sees this event. Also, she goes to activity. She'll see it again. So here it is. So let's say Shaylin comments on it, and she says, I don't have time for this silly test. Whatever you want to do. She has a comment. And if I go back to my screen, in my activity history, I actually see that Shaylin has, I see all the different updates I have. I see that she's commented on this. So I said, okay, well, I want to see what she said. And it's like, okay, well, that's not very nice. But let's say that Shaylin actually was going to go through this. So it's a document, it's an Excel sheet that I actually want her to edit. So she can come in through here, the recent updates, and just go directly to edit in the cloud. And you can edit Excel documents and Word documents and PowerPoints here in the cloud. So here it is. If I wanted a bigger screen, you can open it in a new window, which is obviously a lot nicer if you're actually making changes. Let's say she wanted to highlight some of these items and then save the change. And then closes it. So then if I go back to Derek's account, I'd actually get a notification that she's saved a new version. Give it a couple seconds to refresh. So it's actually fun because it's actually the first time I've demoed on the same machine between two accounts.
They're a pretty good live representation.
Yeah. So I get this here, and I go back. Oh, now this is the preview. So there are two options. There's a preview in the cloud, which now we see the changes that Shaylin has made. And if I wanted to edit that, I could go to View History and say I really don't like that change, or like, Shaylin, that was worthless. I'm going to make the first one current, and then I'll comment back with something funny or whatever it is.
Something like, I reject your change.
Like, thanks, but no thanks, Shaylin. Go try again. And that's all it is. So you would get this for everyone. So anyone who's collaborating in that folder would get a notification that these changes have been made, even if they weren't making the changes. For example, internally, we have development team. We have multiple offices all around the world. We have development, product management, design, all in some of the same offices, but we work on the same files together. So it's really nice for us to centralize our repository for images we use for the different applications using Collaborate. So we have app assets. So like for the Android application, we have the different items we have for creating the Android application, all the images used. That way we use the FileLocker system as our central repository. It's our file server. So everyone bases what they're using off of what's here, rather than I have a version, our designer has a version, and our developer has a version. And hopefully they're all the same. Now we can guarantee that they're all the same versions. So you can see how nice this is in an international outfit, or even just having satellite offices anywhere. It's just a really nice way to go about it.
So like imagine that you're working on a contract with your lawyer and you were going through a number of red lines and you were constantly uploading new revisions. This would be an ideal situation to use FileLocker in, because number one, you want it to be secure, and number two, you want to be able to keep track of versions. Much easier than downloading and uploading new emails that you're sending back and forth to each other that are sometimes really difficult to keep track of.
All right. So I got a couple questions here. Do you need to set up an account for all recipients, and does this count as a paid user on the FileLocker subscription? Good question, Avi. No, you don't have to do that. So if you wanted to collaborate with somebody who wasn't already a user, there's what's called a guest user. The guest user really doesn't have a whole lot of options to do anything except for download files and comment on them. They cannot update new versions of files. So to really get the full collaboration experience, you need a full collaboration account, which is when you come in, just create a new account for somebody.
Jonathan has a great question. He says he sees on Derek's account that it's 45 gigabytes. That is because it's our internal account, and we did create it, just a few days ago when we launched the service. But actually, for your paid account, it would be unlimited.
Yeah. So the freemium accounts, it's 5 gigs per user with 5 users. That way you have at least 5 people collaborating. And what's also nice about this is it combines your front office and back office systems into a customer-facing system. So you don't have to just use this for your internal communication. It's flexible enough to allow your customers to interact, like the incoming folder example that we showed, or if you need to receive files from somebody, you can do that. If you needed to create an account with a client, you're going back on things. So those of you doing web design, for example, maybe you have some mock-ups that you're sending back and forth between the customer and yourself. You can update that. So when you, and using the desktop sync, for example, you have a folder on your desktop, and you set that to be synced to the cloud, to this folder, and that folder is being collaborated with your customer. It's also using the sync app, or even if they're not. All you have to do is change the file, the mock-up file, and as soon as it's saved, it'll automatically be synced up to the cloud, and notification will be sent to your customer and will appear as a new download, and they can review that. And then you'll get a notification that they've downloaded it and commented on it. So it's a really nice, fast way to get feedback back and forth between your customers. And the same, it's really nice for internal purposes. And with the security that we have in the SOS or in the FileLocker system for the ultra-safe file sync, you could also do this with more sensitive documentation. So if your CFO needs to put up financial data in the cloud, you can do that securely and be assured that this is going to maintain all the security compliances to which he must adhere. SAT 70, if there are healthcare records with employees, then HIPAA, whatever that case may be. SAS70, SSE16, which is one of the newer but not replacing items for accounting. And that's all there is. But as Sheila was saying, you upgrade, and then you have no limit on your storage.
So just to make a clarification about the freemium account, it seems like there might be some confusion. If you sign up for the freemium account today on the website, you get 25 gigabytes for 5 users. So we didn't mention that in the slideshow because it's simply the free account, and that's where everybody will start. But if you do upgrade, you will get unlimited storage.
That's right. Another question, Laura said, I lost you a little bit. I get documents, but why do you start highlighting the chart? Well, it's just an example of a change that I can do from one side to the other. So I just had, say for example, we're not in the same room, and I wanted Shaylin to highlight the important items that she wanted to see. So she reviews it, she sends the highlights, and then I get them. And then I open it up, and I go to my activity history. And I can open up this document. And the previous is going to pull up the new version, so I actually looked at the view history. So it says 6 minutes ago, Shaylin modified this one. I uploaded the original 10 minutes prior. So I can make this current. I say OK. And then there's a share link right there to it if I wanted to just share a link with somebody. Or if I wanted to go back, I could just edit it. So let me return to the folder. So now I'm editing the sheet. So this is Word document or Excel or PowerPoint. And you can do this straight from your iPad too. So I did this. I use it all the time. So I can say, OK, that's important. Then maybe I don't need to see the rest of this stuff, so I'll just delete it. And we'll focus on that. I could, type in new information, machine, other, etc. And I save it, and in the cloud, I've just reviewed her changes and made my own changes and saved them. So modified, just a bit ago. And now Shaylin's going to get a notification that the files have changed as well. Does that make sense? So that's the collaboration back and forth. So no more, for example, putting this presentation together. We had 5 different people involved in putting the presentation together. And doing that through email gets pretty sloppy. You have an attachment, you send it to a person to do a revision, and maybe you have 3 people doing revisions at the same time. And then the replies are all staggered and when they come back to you when people were working on it. And maybe revision 1, revision 2, revision 3, they're all based off of different revisions. So now you have all these different versions and no way to really track which is which, and it's hard. There's naming conventions, you have all these different files. With this system, you can simply see just a number of versions, who modified it, when, and you can select the most current or merge them to be more current. So it really makes collaboration in any environment, whether it's for your kids and they're working on school projects, more and more education's going to digital platforms. So high schools require tablets now, or they have high recommendation to get tablets or laptops for your students. Higher education, of course, it's required. Small business groups. So if you have a small marketing team, it's just nice to have all this together.
Francois has a question. I may have missed this, but if my goal is to have a client or outside business send us a secure file, can they upload to our public cloud? You can make them a user, and then they can do that.
Or not. If you just need them to send files, then you can do, from your admin dashboard, you just create an incoming folder. And you say, okay, I want to create a new incoming folder. And you can name it, maybe you make a folder just for them. Or like you did for or like we have for our support staff, it's for our whole staff. So if I had this link, I could send this link to the customer, and then they can put in their email address, the subject line, message details, and then attach files as they see fit. So they can say, okay, we want to get this PDF, and then just add it to the field. Now our support staff is actually using that, so I'm not going to upload this PDF because it was just confusing. But yeah, that's how you would do it. Or like Shaylin said, you could create, if you actually have ongoing collaboration with them, you would just create them as a user and continue to collaborate with them if necessary, and then you could remove their account or whatever you want to do with it. Keep it going.
Jonathan has another really good question, and it's really about why would you use this versus backup, or really what is the difference between backup versus sync? And the key differentiator is that in backup, the intention is to keep data in the cloud so that it cannot be touched. And that is what many compliance requirements are about. Like, for example, I believe SSAE 16 makes it a requirement that you cannot adjust or modify data once it's in the cloud. Backup is absolutely ideal for that. Collaboration, the idea is to be able to modify it when it is in the cloud. So that's not really the purpose. And you may find yourself maybe regretting if you had used a collaboration solution for backup. In fact, if you like, I'm happy to provide you with a Gartner report called Sync is Not Backup. It's been well documented by a lot of industry experts that sync is not the same as backup, and collaboration is not the same as backup, and it shouldn't be mistaken that way.
Right. But they're inherently different, like Shailen said. For backup, your intent is to write to a single location, not to write from that location at all. So whereas collaboration with FileLocker, the whole idea is this is our active file set, and this is what's happening here. So it's a completely different set of security settings, and it's why we at the backup provider also came out with FileLocker as a complementary service.
Koya has a great question. Can you reassign users? So Koya, let's say you have the 10-user account. Yes, you'd be able to. So the way you'd be doing that is by adding and deleting users. So let's say I was collaborating with you and I made a Koya account. When I was done collaborating with you, then I would just delete you as a user, and then I'd add my buddy Derek if I wanted to replace you with Derek.
Right. Like I can just go here and say remove Shailen's account, and then she'd be real happy with me. Or I could change the user settings like you asked, like why does she have a smallest quota? I can put it up there and say, okay, that's good.
So with the administrative settings, you can do all of that. And the administrative settings do come with the $5 per user per month account.
Any questions?
It looks like we may be approaching wrapping up if there aren't any more questions. Steve has a great question.
What functionality do you provide beyond what is SharePoint extranet? So SharePoint has, one of the big problems with SharePoint is the feature bloat that it has. There's a lot of stuff that SharePoint does. I understand the vision. It was beautiful. It just became rather complex, and the complexity really outshined the value of the point of SharePoint. With our service, it's really quite simple. Whereas private backup for our partners may have been more of you have your own data center and you want your customers to back up directly to your data center. With FileLocker, it's much, much different, and the qualification for who's going to be interested in FileLocker is much larger. Almost anyone. So a 20-person firm, a 5-person firm, whatever the case may be, everyone could be interested in having the FileLocker in-house. So essentially it replaces your file server, and your file server is on site, and now it also provides your extranet so that you can remote in from, or not remote in, you can log in from any location. But it gives you that added security that a lot of firms would need. For example, small development operation, a friend of mine works for, they only have 20 users, and they're very interested in deploying this as a private cloud offering. Whereas with backup, they wouldn't be interested in a private backup offering at all. They'd say, well, no, we want it to go off-site to your services. Does that answer your question, Steve? There's a lot to SharePoint. I mean, we're not trying to do half the stuff they're doing just by design. Perfect. Okay, great.
So we'll hang on for about 30 more seconds to see if there's any questions, but I'll go ahead and summarize the presentation really quickly for you guys. Number one, you can start out for free. You can get your free account today by going to filelocker.com/signup, or simply go to filelocker.com and then you'll be easily directed to that sign-up page. And just start using it. Just start adding users and start sending information to friends, colleagues. Of course, you're not limited to sending people within your company. You can definitely go outside there. This is what the sign-up page looks like. And then the second thing that I really want to underscore is the unusual and amount of security that is offered within this program. We feel that security is a right and shouldn't be regarded as a luxury. So if you are sending data in the cloud, you deserve to be able to do it securely. And you can do that with our free accounts as well as our paid accounts.
Yeah, if you're interested to see what we have available, you have the checkbox of features and everything you get from the freemium offer to what you get when you start signing up. So we do have the desktop application, which is great for integrating with your Windows Explorer. So then you don't really have to come to the platform. You get notifications on your desktop. You can share directly from your desktop, add sync folders. Really nice integration so that a lot of people like the Dropbox method where it looks like a separate partition on your drive. Well, with us, it's not just a partition, it's any partition you have. Just add whatever folders or directories you'd like to the cloud and it'll go.
Okay, it looks like we don't have any more questions, so we will go ahead and wrap up. So please don't hesitate to come visit the website and contact our representatives about the solution if you have any more specific questions afterwards. And we hope to see you in FileLocker. Thank you.